Hi guys, it's me back again.
Hello all.
If you don't know and you're new here, I'm Daz and I make nearly-ish daily videos on the funny side of life with anxiety and depression. And today I'm going to be delving into the fairly ordinary everyday thing of taking a flight and just how much that can launch your anxiety levels. Taking a flight is something pretty damn ordinary. We've probably all done it at some point in our lives.
Okay.
But the whole idea of taking a flight is something that always smacks me in the face with a degree of anxiety.
You sick little monkey.
And I want to share some of those things with you today because some of them are pretty fucking ridiculous, but they're still there. And maybe you can relate to some of these as well.
That is insanely cool.
One of the first things that starts that anxiety going is travelling to the airport. Depending on where you are in relation to the airport, can be a fairly quick journey or a really long journey.
It's only about 400 miles.
But the very fact that you cannot be late, there is no flexibility. If you're getting a bus, there may be another bus, or if you're getting a train, there may be another train. But with a flight, there's that flight. If you miss it, you've missed it. It's very unlikely you can just get on another one for free. Generally, you'll have to pay money.
You got my money?
The idea of just missing that flight is just already... So what I tend to do when I'm travelling to the airport is try to be ridiculously early. But I'm always late for everything. Always. And those of you who know me know that, unfortunately. Sorry. There's so many things you have to build into this, and it's this where it starts to kind of get... You think, well, the flight's at, say, midday, and you have to check in 2 hours before. So you have to check in by 10 a.m. You have to be at the airport, therefore, at 10 a.m.
It's funny because it's true.
Well, if I want to arrive at the airport at 10 a.m, it's going to take an hour to get to the airport, so I really need to leave at 9. That seems quite simple. No stress, no anxiety.
Okay.
However, it's not quite the case. If I'm late and I miss that 10 a.m, am I then not going to be able to check in? Even though it's 2 hours before, it's like, okay, well, I'll add an extra hour on, so I'll get there at 9 a.m, so I'll leave at 8.
Yeah, that's good.
It should take an hour, but it maybe not. It might take more than an hour. So I'll leave at 7.
Okay, what?
So you leave at 7, so I've now got 5 hours gap between leaving home and the flight. But still, what about if something breaks down or something? I end up just leaving at some ridiculous time just so I can make sure that I get to the airport with enough time to check in at the right time, and then I'm there.
Really, Daddy?
Even though I'm often laid back and very, very relaxed about some things, that's because I've already had that anxiety kind of planning in my head to go,
I'm pretty chilled. We'll leave at 6 a.m. for this flight.
people go, well, what time's the flight?
Midday.
What? That's insane. But that's how I'm relaxed about it, because I've already had that crazy anxiety panic attack going on, so I've built in shit tons of time extra, so we're all good.
Sweet, great.
Now we've arrived at the airport, probably 3, 4, 5, 6 months before the flight, as per the last point. I'm happy now, I'm at the airport fine. But now comes the other super stressful and anxiety creating thing before the flight, and that's checking in. Obviously, if you arrive at the airport so many hours beforehand, potentially there's the point you've arrived so early you can't check in yet.
Dumbass.
That has happened numerous occasions to me. At least I know I'm there. I'm fine. I'm good. I'm not going to panic. I'm at the airport. I'm going to get some breakfast or coffee or food or whatever. All good.
Oh, thank God for that.
Why the fuck is there always an 8 million person queue on the flight that me, wants to get in? All of the other flights empty, but the one for you, me, always trillion people long outside the airport. In fact, the queue goes all the way to where you're going and back. That's how long the queue is.
Much later.
Okay, so if I get this queue, am I going to be able to check in on time for the flight because the queue's so long?
I don't know.
Sometimes there's multiple flights for one big queue. There's so many people here. Oh my God. You know, am I going to miss my flight? Am I going to not be able to check in? Am I going to get to the point and go, right, I want to check in? No, that closed. Reality is that never happens because someone's shouting out, okay, anyone for this flight? And they'll move you to the front. Then you get to the desk. Okay, let's go. I'm in time for my flight. Okay, I'm good. Then the next bit of panic sinks in. Is my bag going to be too heavy? I know. I've weighed the bag about 50,000 times at home already.
Are you sure?
I know it's exactly the right amount of weight, but there's that paranoia. Is it going to be too heavy on their scales? And therefore, am I going to get charged and they're going to say, no, it can't? Absolutely fucking ridiculous. How much stress and anxiety you can get over your bag, even though you know exactly how much it weighs. Stupid. You put your bag on and there's that tense moment as you see the scales go up and
It looks to me like you fellas have got a lot of bags there.
I shouldn't be relieved. I've weighed it before. I know exactly how much.
The same exact amount.
But that's the craziness of anxiety, I guess. Some people prefer window seats, some an aisle seat. So the next thing is, if you haven't already chosen your seat online, which more and more situations you can, am I going to be able to get the seat that I want? Can I get an aisle seat? And if you're with someone else, can we get the seat together? If you're family, can we all get seated together? All these things like, this has been alleviated a lot by online check-in. You can choose your seats, everything like that. That's saved a lot of hassle because you know you're all good in that respect.
Flashback.
What I find amazing is, before online check-in, you used to turn up at the airport, queue up, put your bags in, get assigned your seats, get your boarding pass and leave.
End of flashback.
Now, you check in online, then go to the airport, queue up for a long time, as before, to drop your bag and get a boarding pass and leave. Literally nothing's quicker.
That's for true.
That happens to me every single time, and especially when there's also the person in front of you who seems to take forever to just do that 2-minute transaction of checking in. We're there, we've got our boarding pass, we're good, we're checked in. We are ready to go. Now, what could possibly go wrong here?
You've got a lot to learn.
The queuing at the gate. I want to be at the front of the queue to be on the plane as soon as possible because there's this sort of paranoia. I'm thinking if I'm not at the front of the queue, by the time I actually get onto the plane, there'll be no room for my bags in the upper storage area. I really want to be at the front of that queue.
Are you ready to go?
That's a ridiculous thing because ultimately there's definitely room for everyone and their bags. It's not really the end of the world or anything worth really getting stupidly anxious about. But that doesn't help people like me and maybe you.
No, sir, I don't like it.
And there's probably half an hour, and I'm there like...
No, I'm in the queue.
Everyone else is sitting down having a coffee. There's no one else there, not even the staff. I'm literally up there at the front so I can get on first so I can actually get my seat, put my bag in and settle.
I know where I go when I want to relax.
And that's a ridiculous way to live. It really, really, really is. Probably all comes down to really some sort of control thing. I don't know. We sit down. Okay, now... Oh, it doesn't end there. I tell you, it carries on, carries on. Who's going to sit next to me?
What is wrong with you?
Now, if you're travelling alone, this is probably more of an issue than if you're travelling with someone else. But even if you're travelling with someone else, there can still be someone next to you the other side. So there's that whole thing of...
Who's going to sit next to me? Is it going to be someone nice?
But the idea more is it going to be someone who's not smelly, doesn't shut up, takes up all the room? Whatever it is, whatever annoyance there is to you, you don't want that person sitting next to you for hours for the flight.
Hey, Apple.
So that kind of panic, the chances of getting someone who's vaguely normal next to you is quite low. You're going to get someone who's going to just annoy the fuck out of you for that period of time. Now comes the last piece before the takeoff, and that's the safety briefing. If you weren't anxious about flying, let's just smash you in the face with what could possibly happen and what to do in the event of that.
All right, that's the way it is.
First thing, teach you how to put the seatbelt on. Now, to be fair, if you can't put a seatbelt on a plane, you shouldn't be allowed on a plane. Probably shouldn't be allowed out of the house because it's like that.
You are a retard.
Even if you've never been on a plane before, you could probably work that out. It's just small little things that if you're slightly anxious or slightly paranoid about stuff, bang, this is just to elevate and raise up. Lots of flying kind of words, analogies, metaphors. All your kind of tension, it's all building up. And then it's time for takeoff. Now, if you do struggle with anxiety, depression, or any other kind of mental health issues, I really do recommend you check out BetterHelp. It's an online service with its own app and can really help you with some great therapy. And if you enter the code DAZHANDS, you'll get 10% off. I'll put a link in the description.
Thank you.
So now you're on the flight. You've taken off, we're all good. Or are we all good? Because what's the number one thing that then kicks in? Turbulence. It's kind of... As soon as turbulence starts, hands grip those armrests because obviously gripping an armrest is going to help you when you're X thousand feet in the air travelling at 500 miles an hour. Just gripping those armrests, that's going to solve everything. But you still do it. It's just horrible, let's be honest. And turbulence, which happens pretty much every flight to a degree, some worse than others, obviously. But it's that feeling of out of control, which I guess is where a lot of anxiety comes from. It just kind of, one, it makes you a bit nauseous because of the stomach thing, but also just, what does this mean? Does this mean we're going to crash or not? I don't know. Probably not. No, because it's just turbulence.
Oh, yeah.
Now, to be fair, I think food on a plane has got a lot better. But a lot of people... really just get so freaked out by the plain food. Is it going to be edible? Is it going to be nice? Am I going to be sick? Just freak out completely. Just this whole idea around food on a plane, and when they're drinking, are they going to spill it on the person next to them? Are they going to spill it down themselves? Because obviously you have to eat like a praying mantis.
Would probably be better for everybody.
If you're on a plane, you can't eat how you would normally eat with a knife and fork. That's obviously playing a small drum. You have to eat literally like a praying mantis. You have to keep your elbows in, and it's just ridiculous. That adds a little bit of anxiety and stress to the whole thing, just eating like a complete weird insect.
Are you saying I'm stupid?
But, because if you do that, you're going to be smacking the person in the face with your elbow. Whether or not this is after the food, before the food, or in general. But one of the things I think is a huge causer of anxiety is going to the toilet. Depending on your level of self-confidence, generally going to the toilet or going to the bathroom is not a particularly stressful or worrying thing. But there seems to be this thing about going to the toilet on a plane. I think because there is a queue next to people who are possibly eating their dinner, but also the fact that it's all very close. You queue very close to each other. The bathroom itself is tiny. We all know what's going on in that toilet, but there's some sort of embarrassment or anxiety when you come out.
You said I could use your bathroom.
It's bizarre, but the fact of getting up and then people know you, I don't know what it is. It makes no sense to be anxious about that sort of thing, but to a degree I do. You think,
You're a freak.
That's the verbalization of the thought. It's madness. It's absolute madness. But it's there. It's that sort of thing. Whereas if you were in a theatre and you went to the toilet and come back, you wouldn't even think about it. But for some reason on a plane, and maybe you said this is because of the sort of the proximity of everyone. I don't know, but it's just crazy.
Never bothered me anyway.
So you finally arrive at your destination. You get off the plane, particularly if it's somewhere nice, and you get off and it's lovely sun. Then you've got to go and pick up your bags, and it's something that always kind of just gets to me in stomach. Really thinking, what about if my bag doesn't arrive? Even before anything, that's the thought that's going through my mind.
Peace of mind is what you shall have.
Someone's bag has to be first, obviously, but it never seems to be yours or mine. So waiting and waiting, waiting, and you see other people who are on your flight picking up their bags. You know it's the bags from your flight, and yet they carry on, still no bag, and there's just this nauseating feeling in your stomach, just going,
God, where's my bag? My bag's lost.
horrible, sickening feeling of anxiety about where's the bag. And 99.9% of the time, it arrives. It's there.
I'm so happy to see it.
Obviously, at some point somewhere, someone's going to have a bag that's missing. That's just life. I've had it. But more often than not, your bags are there and my bags are there, and yet horrible, sickening feeling just expecting them to not be there. It's just ridiculous, makes no sense, but still was so on edge and nervous until the bags arrive. Once they arrive, we're all good. Kind of all good, till we get on to security.
Get out of here!
So this bit should be the easiest part of the whole thing. Got our bags, we've got over all of the problems, all of the anxiety problems and stress and worries and all of that. We're now in the destination, we've got our bag, literally it's all kind of over and done with. But we now just have to walk through security and then get out, and obviously we can go on our way. Why is that such a stressful thing?
I don't know.
You've done nothing wrong, you're not smuggling anything, hopefully, I assume, and yet you feel so guilty, you feel so paranoid, you're going to get searched and body searched, and you're going to be asked questions, which nothing matters because you haven't done anything wrong, and yet you just feel so guilty. You feel so anxious and terrified that you're going to get stopped by security and asked a load of questions and be told to open your bag up and be searched.
Wait, what?
Even if you are, what does it matter? You haven't done anything wrong, hopefully. Apart from a little bit of a delay, there's no real harm. And yet there's this feeling of like paranoia and guilt, which makes you start to look a bit shifty and a bit dodgy, which is probably more likely to make them want to stop you and search you. It's ridiculous, it's madness. And yet I definitely do it every single time, trying to look normal, trying to look like a normal tourist, which I am. I don't need to try to look like a normal tourist, and yet I feel I need to try to look more like a tourist than I am. It's exactly what a guilty person would do.
Pathetic.
It's bizarre, it really is bizarre. This last bit is fucking ridiculous. So let me know in the comments your paranoia or anxiety related issues with flying. You know, I'd love to hear them. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so here and check out my other video up here. And remember, don't take life too seriously because you're always just one laugh away. See you next time. Bye.